Hey everybody, it's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong, and I have some journals to show you. This is one that I made earlier in the week and I just haven't had a chance to show you. I've purchased some older books recently and this was one of them, and I went ahead and took all of the pages out and then put 3 signatures in the way I normally bind. I'm actually going to put a drop of glue under here. I see where I missed that corner, and let's trim. See, I'm glad you're seeing this firsthand. And you can see that is not perfectly straight. I bound, but it's close enough. I mean, I love this, and you could put ribbon over this. You could put paper in the front if you want to. I bound the signatures to this heavy upholstery fabric, and then that is glued to the inside, which had already been reinforced with some cotton fabric. And I just love this. I think it turned out so pretty. There's a hole punched here with a little grommet, and then I just have part of an old necklace through there and a little charm here. It's just a bird sitting on a little, you know, like a perch in a birdhouse. So you could take that out, you could take that charm off and put something else on there. I kept a few of the original pages of the book, but since I've been going through, and like you can see, this part is the very front of the book, 1953, and I love that this book is so worn, and we've got handwriting on the inside cover, 10/5/53, and then it's just, I saved the back inside as well, the back inside page as well with that last page of the index. But going through, I've been working on so many fun packs and sorting paper out here. Everything in here is just a vintage piece of paper, or maybe just a piece or two of scrapbook paper that's been added in. So you can see old pages from poetry books. There's a newspaper clipping from '77, part of an old music page. This is a page from an old photo album, and I love that it says the end here, but that was the last page in the book, and I turned it backwards because I love having this edge on the outside. And then here is one of those beautiful French fairy tale or nursery rhyme pages, and there's another part of that book, Perry, and more of the photo album paper. And there is the other part of that newspaper clipping. I just think it's so interesting to see how different things looked. And the prices are so different. Oh, so this was such a crazy article. I mean, I shouldn't say crazy, but they won't go back to bed for space program. 10 women who went to bed for the country's space program say they're ready for the launching pad. They won't go back to the mattresses. I don't want to lay in bed in a windowless room. So it says Miss Gerbino at 44, the oldest participant, was one of 10 volunteers who spent 26 days undergoing rigid testing. The heart of the testing was a 9-day stay in bed, preceded and followed by tests to measure how they were affected by the rest, designed to simulate weightlessness. Anyway, that's just, I cannot imagine. So there's a book page from a book about the Titanic. You can see that was like just the inside page of a book with the blank paper on one side. And there's an old children's book page. And here is, this is part of the actual textbook, and a vintage doily. There's part of a dictionary page and the front of an old music book. There's a map page, music page. This was something somebody had typed up, and you could add to this. I'll show you when we get to another page what you could do if you wanted to extend this page, which I'm sure you already know, but tiny little pocket there if you want it. And then this was a beautiful old Sears and Roebuck catalog page. I'm trying to remember which one of you sent me this. I've got Happy Mail to show you, and there's a long story surrounding that and some things that I forgot I had, but it was so brittle, I took a napkin and just glued to the back of it. So I think that's really pretty. Part of a music page, children's book page, and this is a gorgeous old page from, I think it's German, I'm not sure, a seed and flower catalog. I did scan this page. I still need to scan this one, and I put it in my Patreon account for my patrons. So like this page, it's old. It's very old. This is late 1800s. And you can see there's a tear at the top. I'm going to show you, I would just take a little piece of masking tape. You could cut it to be really neat, and put over that, or you can leave it like it is. And you all know that I'm not afraid of tape, glue. This stuff is falling to pieces. And I know from working in a setting where donations are sorted and things are, recycled and donated, you will not believe how many books go in the landfill, and you won't believe how many books are just torn to pieces, written in, thrown away. I'm not saying we threw things away, but then sometimes you have to throw things away if things have been exposed to like black mold, and sometimes something, and Kim, I know you and I have talked about this recently, some things would come in that were so moldy and they were beyond help. Not everything is beyond help, but you get what I'm saying. I don't feel bad about repairing these pages, using these pages. They make beautiful books. Here's the other half of that page where somebody typed up some things about, I guess that's either knitting or crochet. And then music page, there's the other part of that. Map page, the music book cover. Oh, and this was just lovely. This was in a pack of little art prints, and I think they're all Jessie Wilcox Smith. I think that's right. So the other part of that, of course, I had paper taped to the dictionary page. I cut it big enough to glue on this side and tape on the other side. So you can extend pages if you want to. Then we have a full-size dictionary page, a doily, more music. This is an old page from the little girl's own storybook. This is the early 1900s. Very thick paper. I'm almost out of these. And then we have an old magazine page. That's from the designer, and I want to say that's early 1900s. Here's the cover of a vintage music book. Here is a page from an old Century magazine, early 1900s. Here, of course, is one of the pages from the book that was in the fun packs today. You can see where it's charred on the edges. And this, I could just kick myself. I sewed this in upside down. I was so excited about this illustration of the leg. So it is what it is. I can't, because these signatures are glued in underneath, there was no taking this out. But once again, I'm not afraid to change things up. You could cut along here, and you could cut along here and reverse and flip and tape, and you'll have those right side up. Otherwise, it's just a really quirky part of the book. And then here is one of the pages from the yearbook. I love those. And just going on through, getting to look at the bears. I still have to show you my bear journal. Does anybody follow Fat Bear Week? My sister follows that. She lived in Alaska for a while, and that's where my niece was born. And she follows the bears, and my sister paints beautiful bears. I hope she's going to get her stuff available for prints soon. They're very, very lovely. Anyway, love the bear page. And there is that book. This is listed in my Ko-fi shop. That's the first one. The second one, and you all have seen this probably a long time ago, definitely a just straight up trash journal. And I called it Serendipity. I think it's because of some paper I got or something. But you can see it's got part of a tape measure around it. And this part of the tape measure just has a safety pin where you can close that. It's just an adorable piece of art, and we've got the, the corrugated cardboard, just bits and pieces. I want to say that this came from a fun pack, and I put it together. You can see bits of fabric that have been glued in. Now, you could journal in this, or you could just keep it on display. I have loved having this one where I can see it out in the workshop. It's also been on display in one of the cases at the scrap exchange. And, things like this are just so fun. to look at. And there are, I believe, 4 signatures. Lots of these little pieces of paper. I didn't know what they were for, but my friend Nancy messaged me, and she had been researching these. And Nancy, I think these ones with the shiny gold paper on them, I think they're the same as the ones you and I looked at, only a little different design. I love all of this green in here. But if it's the same thing she looked up, they're to make wishes, like for family members. You light them on fire. I think that's right. Nancy, if it's different from that, you can definitely tell me. It looks like that was still a little bit wet. But I just love this. Oh, that was from the Museum of Modern Art, a large bag. And I just tore these things up to make an art journal. Lots of staining, beautiful, just bits and pieces of paper that might normally end up, that looks like half of a pumpkin, that might normally end up being recycled. So this book is in my Ko-fi shop. There's one of those papers that Nancy and I were talking about. And this, of course, is just a bunch of wadded up thread that was left over that I've sewn into the back. And again, that's, I probably should stamp birdsong in here. There we go. I knew that had ink on it because I had just used it. So this is in the Ko-fi shop, Serendipity. And then we have this. This is not many pages, but I don't know if you remember, I kind of put this together when I first created that acronym GREAT for Great Journal Pages. So these are all just a product of making the, following that formula and making what I call Great Journal Pages. They're not elaborate by any means. It's just following 5 steps to get something on paper. And you can definitely end up with beautiful journal pages. And you can also get yourself out of a creative block by using this pattern. So that is in my Ko-fi shop. And then the last thing is just a tiny little baby journal made from some of the pages that were from, I had the Alice in Wonderland paper that my friend Jay sent to me. This is one of the little journals I made sitting on the couch one night. And I love doing things like that. It's pretty plain. It's got 2 pockets in the back. We have that really cute fabric with the rabbit. And had already pulled out some little charms to tie on here. I just love little things like this. You could carry it around for your to-do list or, you know, just whatever. So there's that one. This one says inspire. And the other one says imagine. And of course, let's trim those ends off since they've just kind of been floating around. And then I love to just take my beeswax and kind of wax the end of the thread to try to keep it from, you know, unraveling. Jen, I think you got me the beeswax a long time ago when you got me the gesso. I love everything you sent, and the Caran d'Ache crayons. They have been a huge part of my art journey. So all of these are in the Ko-fi shop. I still have to stop and think about that. And I will be back soon. Bye for now.